If you bleed silver and black, you already know this week is one of the biggest moments we've had in a long time. The Raiders are in a position where everything could change with just one decision, and that decision might be made while the whole world is watching. So today, I want you to sit back, get comfortable, maybe grab a drink, and really pay attention because we're talking about the future franchise quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. This is the kind of player that gets you excited, not just because of what he can do on the field, but because of what he represents for a franchise that has been searching for an identity for years. If you didn't know, the Raiders organization is going to be at the College Football Playoff National Championship game. That's right, Tom Brady, John Spytek, and a group of Raiders officials will be at Hard Rock Stadium to watch Indiana's quarterback Fernando Mendoza take on Miami. And honestly, if they weren't there, I would be shocked. This is not a coincidence. This is not a random trip to a big game. The Raiders have the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, and they've been chasing a franchise quarterback for what feels like forever. The fact that they are sending top-level people to evaluate Mendoza says everything you need to know. It is not just a visit, it is a statement. What makes it even more interesting is that the Raiders have also invited some head coach candidates to join them at the game. I don't know yet who these candidates are, but it tells me one thing. The Raiders are not just looking for a quarterback. They are building the future around a complete plan. They want the next head coach to see Mendoza live, to see how he performs under pressure, and to get a feel for the kind of leader he is. And honestly, that is exactly how you build a franchise. You don't just draft a player and hope for the best. You bring the right people, you do your homework, and you make the decision with all the information you can gather. Now, let's talk about the moment that really gives me chills. Every time I think about the Raiders picking Mendoza first overall, I get that feeling like the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. This is not just a draft pick, this is a turning point. The Raiders have been searching for a quarterback who can not only make plays, but also carry the team, inspire the locker room, and bring stability to the organization. And I truly believe Mendoza is that guy. I've been saying it for weeks, and I've been saying it with confidence. Tom Brady loves this kid. He sees something special in him. He sees a difference maker. A few weeks ago, I made a video predicting that this would be the moment when Mendoza would show the world what he is capable of. And now we are here. We are at the final game, the biggest stage in college football, and the Raiders are watching. If you're a Raiders fan, you should be watching too, not just as a fan of college football, but as someone who is watching the future of your franchise unfold. And I'm going to be honest with you. I want the Raiders to draft Mendoza. I want Brady and Spytek to fall in love with him the way I have. Because when you watch this kid play, you can see it in his eyes. You can see the confidence, the calmness, the intelligence. He's the kind of player that makes you believe. And speaking of belief, I want to talk about what Mendoza said when he was asked about being the potential number 1 overall pick to the Raiders. He was asked before the national championship game what he would think if he was selected first overall, and his answer was perfect. He said he would love to answer that question, but he didn't want to take focus away from his teammates. He said he was fully focused on the present, on winning the game. And the way he said it, with that big Mendoza smile, was priceless. He looked like a kid on Christmas morning, excited to talk about it, but also mature enough to understand that the job wasn't done yet. That is exactly the kind of mindset you want from a franchise quarterback. You don't want someone who's already thinking about the future when the present is still on the line. You want a player who is locked in, who understands a moment, who understands what it means to lead. And Mendoza showed that. He didn't get distracted. He didn't let the spotlight get to him. He answered the question in a way that made it clear he is a team-first guy. And that is a rare quality, especially in today's game where everyone wants to be the center of attention. Now, let's shift to the game itself. Indiana versus Miami is going to be a matchup that people remember for years. You've got Miami, a team that has had one of the most impressive stories in college football this season. And you've got Indiana, a team that has shocked the world. The Hoosiers have been the story of the year, and they are now 1 win away from their first national championship in school history. And if you've been watching Indiana this season, you know they are not a fluke. This team has been dominant. They destroyed Alabama, they dismantled Oregon, and they have shown they can win in every way possible. This game is in Miami Gardens at Hard Rock Stadium, which means it's basically a home game for the Hurricanes. but I'm not buying the idea that the crowd will be enough to stop Indiana. The Hoosiers have been on a mission all season. They have that confidence that only comes from winning. And they have a quarterback in Mendoza who has the ability to control the game, to make big plays, and to lead his team when it matters most. If you're a Raiders fan, you should be watching how he handles the pressure, how he manages the game, and how he responds to adversity. I know a lot of people have been talking about the idea of the Raiders trading the number 1 pick. I've seen all the talk. I've even made a video about what I would want in return if they did trade it. But let me be clear. I want the Raiders to draft Mendoza. I want them to take him and build the future around him. Because when you watch him play, you can see the traits of a franchise quarterback. He's not just a talented athlete. He's a leader. He's smart. He's calm under pressure. He makes the right decisions. And he has the kind of competitive spirit that you can't teach. So yes, I'm excited for this game. I'm excited for the future. And I'm excited to see how Mendoza performs on the biggest stage of his life. And to all the Raiders fans out there, you have to be feeling it too. This is the kind of moment that can change everything. It's the kind of moment that can finally give the Raiders the quarterback they have been missing for so long. And I believe Fernando Mendoza is that guy. Now, let's get into what every Raiders fan needs to be watching for in this game. I'm going to be honest with you. My eyes are going to be glued to number 15 the entire time. I'm going to be watching him like he's the future of the franchise. And yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on other players too, because this is a huge game with a lot of talent on the field. But at the end of the day, the focus has to be on Mendoza. If you bleed silver and black, if you want the Raiders to draft a number 1 overall, you need to know what to look for. So here are the 5 things that I will be watching for, and I want you to watch them too. The first thing I want to see is how he handles the pressure and the magnitude of this game. This is the biggest stage of his life. And if he can perform here, it's a clear sign that he can do it in the NFL too. We've already seen Mendoza do it in big moments, like at Happy Valley and in the Rose Bowl and Peach Bowl, but this is the final. This is the moment where the whole world is watching. If he plays well here, he becomes an absolute lock for the number 1 overall pick. And I mean that. This is not just hype. This is the kind of performance that can change a franchise. Indiana has never won a national championship. And Mendoza has the chance to become the greatest player in school history. He has the chance to walk into Indiana and be treated like a god. And he is not the type of guy who would let that get to his head. If anything, he's the opposite. That's why I respect him so much. He's not flashy, he's not arrogant, he just wins. I've heard so many people say Mendoza is not this, not that. He doesn't have the physical traits, he doesn't have the arm, he doesn't have the speed. But you know what? Mendoza is a winner. When the lights are the brightest, he gets the job done. That's the kind of player you want leading your franchise. And when you look at his resume, it speaks for itself. So to all the critics, to all the doubters, I hope he comes into Hard Rock Stadium and shows them exactly who he is. I want him to silence the crowd, silence the noise, and show that he is the real deal. That is what a franchise quarterback does. He doesn't get intimidated by the moment. He thrives in it. Now, the second thing I want to see is third down success. This is something that Raiders fans should care about more than anything. Because if you have a quarterback who can extend drives, you have a chance to win games. You don't want a quarterback who folds under pressure, who can't convert third downs, who can't keep the offense moving. In the NFL, you're going to face more third and long situations than you do in college. And that's where Mendoza's numbers become interesting. This season, he has a completion percentage of over 67, 900 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. But the real eye-opener is his third down performance. In 3rd and 1-3, he has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a completion percentage over 62. And when it's 3rd and 7 or more, he still performs. That tells me he knows how to extend drives. He knows how to make plays when the defense is expecting him to fail. And that is the kind of quarterback you want. The third thing I want to see is his red zone performance. We've seen the Raiders struggle in the red zone for years. It has been a problem going back to the days of John Gruden, Josh McDaniels, and even when Derek Carr was under center. The Raiders have always struggled to finish drives and score touchdowns when it matters most. But Mendoza? He is the best version of himself in the red zone, and that is something you can't teach. He has the calmness, the decision-making, and the ability to make plays in tight spaces. His numbers in the red zone over the past 2 years are ridiculous. 37 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 8 rushing touchdowns. That kind of production is not just good, it's elite. And I understand college football is different from the NFL, but when a guy performs like that in high-pressure situations, you have to take notice. You have to ask yourself, what if he can do that in the NFL too? The fourth thing I want to see is how he handles the blitz. People love to say the Raiders should not draft a quarterback because their offensive line is weak. And yes, the offensive line has been an issue, but the Raiders also have over $100 million in salary cap space, and they can fix that. But even if the line is still a problem, it makes sense to draft a quarterback who is great against the blitz. And Mendoza is exactly that. In the Rose Bowl, Alabama blitzed him 12 times, and he went 8 for 8 for 161 yards and 3 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. That is insane. That is the kind of performance that makes you sit up and take notice. He knows where his receivers are going to be. He reads the defense quickly, and he makes the right decision every time. That is what makes him special. He is the kind of quarterback that reminds you of the greats. He may not have the physical traits of a Justin Herbert or a Patrick Mahomes, but he has the brain and the competitiveness. He knows how to win. And the fifth thing I want to watch is leadership. This is the biggest factor for me. The Raiders have had quarterbacks in the past who have not shown the kind of leadership this franchise needs. If you're going to use the number 1 overall pick on a quarterback, he has to be a leader of men. He has to be someone who can bring the team together, who can raise the level of everyone around him. Mendoza is that kind of guy. He is calm, he is soft-spoken, he is not flashy, but he leads by example. He is the type of leader that guys like Brock Bowers and Ashton Gentry remind you of. He has that same kind of quiet confidence, that same kind of professionalism. And that is what you need in a franchise quarterback. You need someone who can be the face of the organization, who can hold everyone accountable, and who can lift the team when things get tough. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Raiders' coaching search has taken another dramatic turn, and the latest twist could plunge the franchise into uncharted territory. According to sources close to the organization, the team's third most favored candidate outright rejected the opportunity to lead the silver and black, leaving owner Mark Davis and the front office scrambling for answers. This comes after a series of high-profile declines, fueling whispers that the franchise may be grappling with what some insiders are calling a curse job. For weeks, speculation swirled about which big-name coach might finally accept the challenge of resurrecting a team with a storied past but recent disappointments. Analysts had pegged this latest candidate as a top 3 choice, someone whose track record suggested he could bring stability and credibility. Yet, reports indicate he did not hesitate in turning down the offer, citing reasons that remain unclear but hint at the intense pressure and high expectations surrounding the role. Inside the Raiders' headquarters, sources describe a growing sense of panic. The coaching carousel has already seen a handful of potential candidates pass on the opportunity, and now the organization faces the possibility of being left with limited options. Discussions among the front office reportedly intensified immediately after the refusal, with scouts and executives revisiting long-shot names and under-the-radar assistants who might still be willing to step into the spotlight. Fans, meanwhile, are left speculating about the reasons behind the streak of rejections. Some suggest that the team's history of instability, combined with immense media scrutiny, makes the job a daunting proposition even for seasoned leaders. Others point to the challenge of competing in a stacked division, where a misstep could quickly turn potential success into public criticism. For Mark Davis, the stakes could not be higher. Securing a head coach has become more than a routine hiring decision. It's a pivotal moment that could define the franchise's direction for years. Every passing day without a solution adds to the tension, and insiders hint that creative strategies may be necessary to attract the right candidate. Rumors abound, from potential trades to high-profile assistant promotions, but one thing is clear. The Raiders' head coaching search is far from over, and the next move could shock the football world once again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.